Here we go. Okay. Hi, everybody. It's going to take us just a second here. And we are with you on Facebook Live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our next episode of Good Deeds Day Facebook Live mini-series. In this series, we're having conversations with our partners all over the world about the projects that we're doing during the coronavirus pandemic and how their focus has changed, sharing tips for wherever you are around the world. My name is Tova Gar, and I oversee the global partnerships and sponsorships here at Good Deeds Day. And so without further ado, let me introduce you to today's guest. Today I'm speaking with Tamar Zer-Aviv. Tamar is a social worker who has worked in the field of education and emotional therapy for the past decade and is currently the Masa community manager, which I will explain to you in a moment what that means. So Masa Israel Journey was founded in 2004, and it's an immersive international experience in Israel for young adults ages 18 to 32. So that's really a large span of young adults who do all kinds of different programs, from study abroad, internships, service learning, Jewish studies program, and a lot more. Since its founding, over 150,000 participants from 84 different countries participated in these Masa Israel programs. And Masa Community is a program that was created, is a community, it is not a program. I keep making that mistake. It was a program that was created a year and a half ago, bringing people together to create community between the current program fellows, alumni, and native Israelis. And we're gonna talk about that. Masa Community is a global collaborative network. Community members run anything from social meetups to professional development courses, sports, culture, art sessions. They offer personnel help or offer support to those who may have been on the Masa program and choose to immigrate to Israel and during that transition of moving to living here. So there's really a lot of different activities that happen. Welcome, Tamar.
Toda. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
So we're happy to have you with us today. And before we get started, what I want to ask, as we always do, if you're listening in with us live now or joining later, please share in the comments. Let us know who you are, where you're listening in from in the world. We're always happy to hear and see. And as me and Tamar have our conversation today, please feel free to ask questions to either one of us. And our staff will share with us your questions, and we're happy to answer and help. So Tamar, why don't you tell me, first of all, a little bit about Masa Community and what it's really about?
Masa Community is about the story of young Jews who come to Israel to enjoy the country for a couple of months while doing different things, as you explained. But then not just staying with their group, understanding that coming to Israel is not just being with people that came from the same country, is about a global experience. You have the opportunity to get to know not just your group, not just Israelis, but also other people who come with the same passion to Israel. You can meet those people through our network, and you can experience Israel from your point of view and from the things that you're interested in, such as food or sports or dancing or Jewish studies. You can find your best friend, you can find your love. And we also very help them to actually get to know Israeli native, which is when you even if it's for a program or if you immigrate, it's something that takes time, since not everybody in Israel knows about the thousands of people who come here. So between creating different events and social work and just connecting people, there are so many things that are happening, and it's very moving. And I'm working with people who really know how to appreciate everything that we do. It can be French people from Zimbabwe, from Canada, from England, from Russia, from Latin America. It's a really good way to experience the world.
So
what you see in my background.
That is totally in your background. And so what I want everybody listening to us today, so basically the focus of the two things that we're going to talk about today are two things. First of all, what do you do? How do you create community with people are visiting your country or new immigrants to your country, right? Many communities around the world have immigrants who come to their country, and often the integration is something that is challenging. And the second aspect that we're going to touch on today is one of the things Tamar has shared with me, which I find very interesting, is that all the work of Masa community pre-COVID-19, or much of it, was in person, right? Creating community in person, gatherings, playing sports together, having meals together, things that are in person. And now we're in a situation where we can't meet in person, right? So how do you create a community in a virtual world? So I'm really looking forward to connecting and talking about that today. So why don't you share with us what things have looked like for you, now that you've moved all this community from in person to virtually. What does that look like for you?
That was very interesting process, since there were more than there was around more than 7,000 people that relied on us when COVID-19 started here in Israel, when they tell that everybody needs to go into quarantine. So the first thing that we did on February, when I met with some of the alumni that take part in our community. Wait, I'm going to just stop and say the community is built of fellows that are now in Masa programs, and also alumni, and of course Israeli natives. And a lot of the alumni are running the activities that we're doing. They're teaching us, they're telling us on the needs. They know much better than me as a person who lived here all of my life. So we met, and we start to think like what's going on in the community, what are the needs, what can we do for that. So it started with opening in a special platform that we are running, a quarantine group, Quarantinos. That was before everybody went into quarantine, and started to do different events, and to see how can we take people who are not in quarantine to help people that are in quarantine, if they need food shopping or anything else, or just emotional support. And from here to there, everything went really quickly, that all of us got into quarantine, which means also the work from the office of Masa changed. We moved a lot of the educational content that we gave to online, if that was courses, seminars, everything through Zoom. Try different platforms to understand what's better, and we got feedback from the community that keep us in a platform that we can interact with one another. So we understood that we need to listen. This is what we're gonna do. We decided to stick with Zoom, and we invited people from the community that we know they're at home now, to share with us their strength, the things that they love to do, to share with others. So they gave yoga lessons and cooking lessons, and talking about what it is to stay in Israel, and career development and Jewish studies, and so much more in different languages. That was the first step that we did from the office, from the Masa office, and then the community also took a step forward, and the alumni started to give sessions themselves, which they still do, even though we are starting to go out of quarantine. That's in the educational point of view.
So I want to stop you for a second, because I want to take a couple of important things that I think you just said, and I want to highlight them. So the first one is that, people might imagine, especially since you just said there are about 7,000 people in your network, is that you have a huge staff of people working with you making this happen. And so what I know is that that's not true, in that there are other people on the Masa team, but it's really you who's doing a lot of this work, and that you can create the power, I think, of your community is that it's run by its community members to a great extent, both in terms of contributing feedback, sharing what their needs are, and in terms of developing content, right? I think often when we run organizations, we have a tendency to hold things close and want to control them, or think that we need to do everything, right? And get overwhelmed because we can't do everything. And I think one of the beautiful things that you're sharing is that your community members are active, right? In sharing, identifying what are the skills, what do they bring and can they can teach the community and really being able to share that. That's one thing. And then the other thing is just to give people some context, right? And remind you is that when we're dealing with people who are away from home, whether they're here temporarily or they're immigrating, is that what you don't have is the family, right? So, if we're talking about this lockdown situation, personal example on myself, right? I went to live with my family, right? If you're here alone, that's not even a possibility, whether you wanted to do it or not, right? Not everybody wants to live with their family. They don't have to. And so there's an extra layer of importance to what you're doing because you're giving people a sense of not being alone in a place where they could feel very alone.
So it's very important to say that the staff of Masa is very active. Thanks to things that we do in the office, the community, I think that we take the community inspired the office, and the people in the office inspire the community, because people work really hard in the Masa office to make all the educational content. So I think the community, besides taking educational content, they took more of the how can we support people in the situation that they are, from helping people find job, because a lot of the immigrants here maybe just got to Israel in the past year, and maybe they were the first one to let go. So how do we help them? A lot of people needed to leave their houses. So how do we help them? How, Masa helped them also sometimes to find an apartment, even if just for 2 months, until we understand what's going on here. We collaborated with an organization called Amcha to help fellows and alumni to get mental health treatments in a better price in 7 languages all around the country. We understand it's not an easy situation to be in. We were all in stress after all. I think March was really hard month, and in Israel and for Jews, it was even maybe harder because of Passover, which is maybe the biggest holiday we have in the Jewish calendar, at least here in Israel. And this is the holiday where people celebrate with their families, and they didn't know, will I stay in this country? Will I live? Can I live? Where will I go? Does the border are open or not? So some of the people had to stay here. You have to help them. And it's amazing that people decide, like, we're going to open our doors, some of them to friends, some of them to people they don't know, helping one another in whatever needed. That was very moving. And Passover itself as an organization, due to the fact that a lot of people never celebrated Passover by themselves, first of all, we helped them if they wanted to celebrate with families through Zoom, because a lot of them coming from the US, so it's not the same time zone. And we also made a preparation to Passover to teach them in different languages how to celebrate Passover by yourself, which is also very interesting and moving. And Passover itself, where everybody were anyway at home, that was a good time. We offered people to send postcards to one another. We created these fun postcards and offered to people to send it through email or Facebook all around the world, so people will feel you're not alone. We're still here. Let's get together. Let's take this opportunity where we're all the same and create something interesting out of it. That was a big start of a lot of things that happened.
So I'm hearing 2 programs that you shared about really allowing people to not feel alone. First of all, connecting with a mental health organization to offer services at a lower price, right? And in different languages, so people can get help in their own language, because not necessarily the language that is spoken in Israel is their native language, or one that is easy for them to speak, if at all.
Or English. Also, English is not easy for everybody.
Yeah, no, whatever the language is, just the language of the country happens to be Hebrew. And the other one is creating this virtual postcard campaign, right? Which, if I understand correctly, you could send a postcard to anybody. around the
Yeah,
world. Is that
we
true?
offered them or to send postcards, or they just needed to comment on different posts they did and to send it to the person that commented before them.
Mm.
Uh, we also did different quizzes through in the days of Passover. Uh, Passover usually is the time where everybody go to travel, so they couldn't do much of that. Um, and after Passover, that was the time to check what's next. We were still in quarantine. In Israel, it was very important for the government also to keep us in quarantine since uh, there was still the Independence Day and days when people usually go and celebrate. And we try to think in the community, how can we still, how can we help people be happy in this time. So we are providing a lot of educational programming. But what else are people looking for? Because maybe Masa started really early with the educational programming, but very quickly we could see online a lot about other things. And we know sometimes people just want to, see other faces, laugh, enjoy. So we created parties online that was really funny. People dressed up and like just enjoyed with one another with much more than 2 meters from one another. And we had stand-up comedy night, and we had laughter workshop. Tonight we have a quiz night. So different things like that are very fun. And in the Independence Day, we also uh, we invited them to understand that even though we're all in quarantine, and you are here maybe for the first time, if it's as a fellow or an immigrant, but there are much people in your surrounding, in your neighborhood, in your building, that maybe not even aware of the amazing people who chose to come to this country, which is something amazing. So we offered them to do different good deeds on this day, to give a lecture through the Zoom to the kids, to help the elderly, to make phone calls to whatever needed, to make sure everybody are okay, to tell them their stories. So this we could also see some, and we're offering them to keep doing that. It's to use Good Deeds Day for, Independence Day for good deeds, since good deeds were, we couldn't do that in the end. We couldn't participants due to COVID-19.
Right. And I think what's amazing is we can always, you're reminding us, I think everybody listening in a way knows this because we're all part of the Good Deeds Network, is that good deeds is something that you can do every day, right? We don't leave that for Good Deeds Day. It's something that we do all year round, always finding, and that there's something about doing good for others that just makes you feel good, right? Makes you forget maybe that you're sad, or forget that you're having a hard time, when you can give and do something for other people.
I think it's very, Good Deeds Day in Israel. It's a very well-known day.
Yeah.
But when you do that, when people are not expecting, baking small cakes and putting that in the front of the houses and knocking, and small things like that, that people say, hey, someone thought about me. Like, doesn't matter if it's even tasty or not. It's
Right.
the fact that you're not alone and we're here, and that's fine. And in this time, even more, this is what people are looking for. And this is what we were aiming for. Um,
Mhm.
I want to say like two things about the volunteers.
Sure.
I have an amazing group of people that most of them are alumni of the Masa programs that are here for a while. Some of them are still on the programs, and those are people that understood that this mission of building a community in Israel that is a fellow alumni in Israeli native community is part of their mission too. It's not just a mission of organization. Masa is doing that because we believe that we can still impact on the alumni. We can contribute, but we don't want to do it only as one way. We want to build a community with an active ecosystem. We want them to teach us their needs, to take it from us and to lead it. And there are more than 15 people that said, this is what I want to do. I want to volunteer for that. They started to do that before COVID-19. But when that happened, they understood that, okay, this is the time for action. No talking, action. We'll take things, even though it's also hard for them. it's hard for them. Some of them lost their jobs, some of them don't feel well. They are alone in this country. Their parents maybe in other countries that in quarantine in other countries. And they take in, and they're helping people with their next step here. They're helping people in their cities. They give a lot of inspiration for a lot of us, and a lot of they inspire a lot of other alumni to say, okay, if they can do it, we can do it. And people turning to me like, how can I help? I don't always know to say what, and I'm like, let's think about it together. You maybe know better than me, but maybe that's the prettiest thing about our community. And we started building this group maybe from day one, and we have a lot of very, very tasty fruits now out of this work. And I also think that it's very important to know how to appreciate them, besides saying kol hakavod and bravo of your work, because they're putting a lot of time into it. On Passover, when it's very common to give gifts, I decided I also want to show them my appreciation, but I wanted to be still in the vibes of the community and paying it forward, let's say. And there is an Israeli organization called Wishing Well. We decided to give them Wishing Well cards, which means that they are able, due to the fact they're volunteering, to get small things from different stores, Israeli stores, 3 times a month. What's nice about that is, of course, that you are supporting the local economy, and that you get something, of course, on the way, and it's only because you're doing something good. So maybe it can look like it's just financial things, or I'm not sure what's the right word to use for that, but it's like, I'm giving you a present that when you're going to use it, you're going to do something good with it, for you and for the person you're gonna order it from. So that was also something that was very important for us.
And I love that you're sharing that. And I would encourage people to think about: do you have in your country, in your local community, an opportunity where, when you're rewarding your volunteers, you're doing double, what I call double good, right? You're not just rewarding them, but you're rewarding them through a gift that is also giving in its own way, right? So what's wonderful about Wishing Well, right, is that they're not just getting a gift when they get it, they're supporting somewhere local that is going to get their help. I know that in my personal life, I've actually gone into very often buying gifts from organizations, whether it's, special needs, young adults that create and make things. I always try to get things that have an extra added value, right, and are contributing in their community if I'm already giving. So I think that's a great thing for all of us to think about, is how do we gift, right? Even when we gift, how do we gift?
The gifts that we gave so far in the community for different events, or gifts, as you said, from different organizations that needed it, but also the gift itself is something that teaches you about the country that you're part of, about the community that you're part of. Or one of the best things that I also like to get in Israel, it's very common that people go somewhere in nature with a coffee kit and make coffee together in nature. We call it pakal cafe in Hebrew. So we decided that pakal cafe, this coffee kit, is something that is very, you can look at it from the community aspect. It's very social. So that was some of the gift. We said we don't want them to just enjoy by themselves. We want them to continue to spread it. So they're getting their own present, but they have to share it, because nobody's opening it by themselves after all.
Right. Yeah. So there's that extra, you're representing your value in the gift that you give.
And it's very Israeli on the way.
Right.
Once again, those people that weren't born in Israel. So this is what people are looking for. They came here for the Israeli experience. And this is what we also want to give them.
Right. Even if at this time they have to stay right under lockdown in their own home.
Yeah, maybe they can do it on their roof if they want.
Maybe. As long as they're staying safe. So what would you say in this movement from, in person to online? What do you think your biggest lessons have been?
My biggest what?
Lessons. The things you've learned.
Wow, we learned a lot because a lot of the things that we needed to do, we understood that we can keep doing. Um, just as an example, as I said, most of the programs are about to finish and people have to stay in Israel because their countries are locked. What will they do? How can we, as alumni who've been there before, even though they chose it, can help? So 2 days ago, we did an alumni panel, which the fellows who are here getting actual answers from people who did it. You can't find it anywhere now. You can find all answers online, and you can find organizations who actually operate those things. But after doing that, we were like, that's not only for Corona time. We have something here that we have an experience, and not just from one person, to not from a French or Russian, for like so many countries. Let's keep giving our experience for other, help them not make our mistakes, and have a very good immigration process. So that was one of them. The other one is from the educational point of view. People are coming to programs all around the country. Sometimes they really want to meet people from other programs or from other cities, and it's very hard. Even though Israel is small, it's still driving. We can still operate some of the educational content online just for people enjoying more educational content, but doing that with new people in their own spare time. They can go and visit the people that they met online. We already see that people are moving to WhatsApp, becoming friends. And I believe we're going to see much more friendships from all of those events happening. I'm getting so many messages of Tamar, where do you live? I'm waiting for that to finish. I saw you online. I want to meet you. So that's exactly what we're looking for. Um, and I think that we understood that from we can take a lot of the tools that the online gives us to make it easier for other people to answer the needs, such as we started to work with a communal platform called Mobilize. The idea of the platform not like Facebook or all the big platforms we know, that it's private. It means that I, as a community manager, decide what are the questions that I'm going to ask in the beginning, who is going to be part of this platform, how the group's going to be in the platform, and on and on. What's nice about it that I can decide that part of the questions are what do I what can I give to others, or why should others turn to me, on what topics, what am I good in that I want to give others. And then if I know that I'm looking for someone to help me with my CV, okay, and I want to meet him, I want to do it one-on-one, I can write Tel Aviv CV and text him. So easy. This is very, maybe personal growth, but you can take it to anywhere. Interested in Shabbat dinners, interested in uh, getting together to play basketball, or so many small things. And a lot of people really need guidance, and a lot of others really want to give it. We just need to help them with them creating the match. And those tools can help us. We don't need a big group of people to find the right name. People sometimes want to be independent. Just I'll do it. Let me keep it, behind the scene, I'll call it. Um, what else? We are now working on like what's going to be our next step. And from next week in Israel, you can meet up to 50 people in open space. But we're thinking about that with the community. Like, what do you want? Are you ready for that? Okay, you want to wait another week? Let's wait another week, not rush, and meet for something low key. We can do it. It's something that is very easy when you have the people to help you do it from the community. We also learn much about how we market. How we market all our events. When it's too much marketing, when it's not enough. Um, and those things we're gonna take with us also for the future, of course. Um, so much more.
Amazing. I'm thinking that perhaps we can share later in the comments the name of the platform. So then if there's anybody else who is interested in looking into that and looking for a platform for connecting and having a private community for the volunteers, that might be an interesting thing for people. So we'll make sure that you give us that address, and we'll make sure to put it in the comments. And one of the things I love about you sharing that platform is that, often when we come to platforms like this, we're looking to get, right? We're saying, I have a need and I'm looking for that need to be met. And what I love that you've created is a situation where you're saying, okay, you have things that you need, but why don't you think about what it is that you have to give? What do you have to give that you can give to the community, which ends up creating connection, right? And ends up creating a lot more than just a platform where people come to get certain things, which I think is so special and really creates that community.
It was, I will say that it was a challenging time. I believe that it was a challenging time for everybody, but we just started to work with this platform, and I think we chose the right platform after looking for a while. But after all, we thought everybody was gonna want to move to a new platform, but there are so many things online now that sometimes someone just want what he already knows. Like, give me WhatsApp, give me Facebook, give me Instagram, give me Telegram, each one of his, which it is a challenge to move to a new platform. But I think that in the long run, it's only going to do good things for the community. So this is where we're aiming for. And I'm sure that it's going to happen. I'm sure that the minute the Masa programs, more Masa programs will start, we're going to see it like this. And what's nice that also this program, first of all, the members of my leading team, we call them the Masabres, they were the one to choose it after all, and they were the one who helps putting the foundations. Mm-hmm. They were the one, always them. I'm behind the scene. I'm letting them lead me. And I think this is the most important thing. I'm working for an organization, but at the same time, I'm working for a community. They are the reason I'm here.
Yeah, and I love that you're saying that, because I heard that also in what you were saying about, what is the next step, right? As the lockdown is starting to release here in Israel, and certain things are allowed, listening to your community, right? Listen to your people and what they're ready for, and not pushing them past what they're ready for, but actually being able to say, we don't have to rush just because we technically are allowed to again, and that I think for us as a world, I know that I've seen this in myself, there's a little bit of a trauma, right, of going back to interaction with people and getting close to people again. And there are, first of all, still things that we need to do to stay safe, but how do you balance that, right, in a community, and really listening to your community and listening to your volunteers, and working in collaboration. So thank you. And I mean, time has passed really quickly. Is there any last words you'd like to leave us with before we end today?
For the rest of the organizations, first of all, good luck. I think that probably everybody who are listening are amazing people that are listening, because they are also trying to do very good things for the people they work with and for their communities. We always need to remember to listen to them, to their needs, and maybe to teach them about new needs that they might never thought, or new ambitions. I'm doing what I'm doing because I believe it's going to be better for my community, not just for the people I'm working for. I believe that the country can look different, and immigration to Israel is going to be easier with time. I really hope that the people you work with know to appreciate your work. I'm happy to say that I'm working with people who know to appreciate it. And stay safe and be creative. I think it's all about being creative in these days, and stay true to yourself.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tamar. Thank you for sharing with us the work that you do and being with us today. I really appreciate it.
Toda.
And what I want to do is I want to invite you all to our next episode, which is going to be next Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. That's North America time, so make sure to convert to wherever you are around the world. And on this conversation, which is May 12th, we're going to be talking with the Volunteer Center of Trinidad and Tobago, with the founder and managing director, Giselle Mendez, and the director of Global Impact, Giselle Granderson. We're going to chat with them about virtual volunteering series covering topics like how to stay positive during challenging times, managing finances, and working from home. So it's going to be a super interesting conversation. Thank you for being with us today. Goodbye from all of us at the Good Deeds Day team. Stay home, stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. So, bye-bye.
Bye.